I'm just gonna do, actually I forgot to do a mic check. Let me get everyone and make sure I can hear all of you. All right, Kat, can you say something real quick?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes. Jen, mic check.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Tam,
Testing, testing.
I can hear you. Susie,
Hey.
Tashlin.
Yo.
This is going to be so much fun.
Hi guys, this is Ray.
And
This is Tam.
And we're Two Gaming Girls. Today's video is an extra special one because we're joined by 4 other amazing female YouTubers. Here beside us is Kat Smiles, CGen Game,
Good day, creators.
Hello.
Tashlin,
Hello.
and XD Susie.
Hey.
Together, we're going to recap all of Creativerse's major updates in 2017 and later share our wish list of things we'd like to see from Creativerse in the new year. While we do this, we'll be putting together a blueprint by Eva Austria called Flower Main Building Alternate. A link to this build, as well as links to everyone here's YouTube page, will be in the description below.
So, 2017, it was a busy year for Creativerse. We had over 10 major updates, I think somewhere around 12 or 13, and all of them brought some impactful changes to the game and the gameplay. So let's jump right in with the first update for the 2017 year. It came out in January, and it was the Machines Evolved R38 update. What's the feedback? What'd you guys think of it?
I absolutely loved the idea of the machines. I do believe it has a really high learning curve, though.
How so? Oh, you mean like just learning how they all function?
Yeah, if someone like never used a machine before, on like myself, it's so taunting.
I don't know. I thought Tam and I had not actually been playing yet when this update came out, so you know we didn't experience what the change itself was like. But just looking at what came out, I thought there were some powerful machines. It was the phasers and the sensors and the arc signs, and there's just such a huge amount of like creativity potential that was added to the game with those 3 especially. Just the ability to make things disappear. I love it. I just love making things. It's like magic inside the game. The sensors, having it be activated by not only players but creatures, just like, you know, I've seen some of those daytime sensors and things like that. It's just really cool things you can get that weren't necessarily the original intention of it. I like being able to, and I like that it's all wireless in general, just the machines themselves, just not having to worry about putting down things that take up space themselves, but just connecting things. So if you want the door to open because you came near it, that's it. I wish that could happen in real life.
Wouldn't it be nice? Definitely.
I also like that they added the mob spawners. They did not have that before. You can spawn your own creatures, and that was really helpful, especially like in adventures in the future when they added that in.
Yeah, and I liked, I did that with the arena. That was the first time I used it. I was building an arena that I have not finished yet, and I used the mob spawner. It was really cool.
The thing I liked the most about that update was being able to shove mobs.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Oh my god, if we could not push mobs around, I don't think I would survive long builds. They're always in the way.
Those darn piggies.
Yes. And it kills me, like, I'll be opening a door and they're right there and they just walk in. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm leaving and you're coming in.
And what's worse is if you are not on a friendly mob server and they come in, they can wreck your day, especially at night.
Definitely. I kind of wish they would allow torches to be turned off and on, toggled.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That was something I was building once and I was like, I wish you could do that. I forgot. That's a really good point. Okay, so after that in February, they had the published adventures update. So I myself have not actually made an adventure yet, but I've gone on a few, and I just really love how it allows players to creatively push the boundaries of the game more than like kind of maybe they anticipated. Some of the things that people have come up with are just so unique and interesting.
Well, it brings an RPG kind of a feel to an MMO, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we were missing, because we had so many people making all these wonderful things, and it was so hard to share because everybody's so afraid to bring someone into their own world.
Yeah.
I think that is actually a very good point, is that it's a safe way to show off. Because I always thought, you build all these lovely things, and that's primarily actually why I took to going on YouTube, because I thought that's the only way I'm going to be able to show what I'm doing. Whereas I think that having the adventures, you're able to show off without putting your world at risk of being griefed. And we know it happens. Playfulverse was even griefed. So it happens regularly. And it's nice to have that ability to not be griefed and still show off.
I didn't even realize that it was possible to do that, considering I wasn't sure if because we haven't been playing since before May of this past year, that the admin locks the visitor only, that you could still grief someone beyond that. That if you default it to visitor, they won't be able to do anything anyways unless you give them permission to. So whatever update.
Yeah, I think that you can. I know for a fact that you can't have default to visitor if you're not pro. So your world's open for a start, and also I think you can be griefed with TNT even if the person's a visitor. I could be wrong on that though.
I think I was on another world. They can activate TNT that's been placed, but they can't place it.
No, that could be true.
So Susie, you've gone on a lot of adventures. What are kind of the things you like about them?
The fact that we can actually share them and experience ourselves, like being in somebody else's world, and it's kind of adventurous, interesting.
Yeah, I like kind of a mix of what you and Kat are saying of just, I don't know, I think it's really, maybe it's the storyteller in me. I like the fact that it's not even just that you can invite them into your world, but you can kind of dictate the flow of it. Like, go here, go there. Like the checkpoints even is really cool. So you're like, these are the things I really want you to see. Or you can even turn it into a game aspect of, here's what you need to try to get to. You know, can you make it? Can you reach this point in my little maze or whatever? It's just, I don't know. I think the potential there is extreme for what we can do.
Yeah, like the challenge of it.
I haven't actually done one myself, mostly because I'm like, this will be my whole time. Like, there will be no time for anything else, because between the storyteller and the builder and me, I'll just make this a massive adventure that'll take months, and then people are like, oh, that was fun. I spent a whole 15 minutes in it. But yeah, I love going on other people's adventures.
With the adventures, though, I wish there was more tags that you were able to go into. Like, if this was like an adventure, story adventure, if it was like a maze adventure, if it was like a role-playing adventure, something like that.
Yes, I think in general the search features for everything, but yeah, it's really hard to find an adventure that's kind of what you want to go on in the first place. Alright, so the next update was the R40 Mob Makeover Mayhem. This was in March. One of the things that it added, but I never got a chance to play with because they changed it back, was the adventure map, the adventure picture frames. How do you guys feel about it? I don't even know the reasons behind it. It's probably, I mean, I know it's some kind of technical reason of why they removed it, but what's your takes on the adventure maps? I love the idea of that you could make something and take a picture of it and then use that as artwork in your build somewhere else.
Yeah, I can tell you straight away why they actually had to stop it. And it was because people were doing adventures with objects in it that were not safe for work, to put it as mildly as possible. And so they had to stop it because people were then, putting these pictures up, and there's quite a wide age demographic of people that play Creativerse. I mean, I happen to know somebody whose age is yet to reach 2 figures. So you don't want children to be seeing the kind of things that these people were putting up on these things. So unfortunately, the community, well, a few in the community actually spoiled that for everybody.
Oh, that's such a shame. I mean, I'm glad that they took it down if that's what was happening, but yeah, that's a shame.
That brings to worry also something we haven't covered yet, the whole blueprint aspect, that now with the workshop, people could potentially post those same types of things.
I do believe that it is a concern with all of us with, the pornographic or non-suitable pictures. But now we have to worry about, like with the billboard we just made for today with our own logos.
Mm-hmm.
Who says we can't do that in the same way?
Yeah. It's something I've strayed a little from. Like, we've made a few for special cases, but that's kind of my thing too. It's just like, now that we have that feature, is there going to be inappropriate stuff added too?
I mean, honestly, if there's like in any group, you're going to have the people who are going to go out of their way to mess up something for us.
Yeah.
And that's sad.
This update was also, again, it's called the Mob Makeover. So this is when they, for instance, changed the warm worm art. I, again, did not experience it personally, but I've seen the old pictures, and I am very happy with the new version.
Oh, I'm in love with him. I do wish they bring back the Shushu's little headpiece.
What was that?
The Shushu, the one with the fire tail,
Uh-huh.
used to have a leafy kind of hat on his head.
Aww. I'll have to
Wait,
look
they
that
took
up.
that away? I didn't even realize.
Well, do remember I'm playing on a potato, so I might not actually get the graphics. So at least that's what I noticed.
Like,
Well, I
my
don't have
potato.
a potato, but I don't know. I didn't notice it. And also with the picture frame thing, I didn't even know you could do that before they took it away. Like I wasn't even aware.
Well, I always wondered if it was because of the, like, surge. I mean, personally, I would have made a lot of, in quotes, adventures just to get the picture I wanted in my own world. And I was like, I wonder if there was a flood of just people abusing that and making fake adventures just for the picture. But yeah.
It must have not been up for very long, was it? I mean, because I don't even remember seeing that available.
If it came out in March, and by May is about when Tam and I, the beginning of May is when Tam and I joined, and I remember it wasn't too long into us playing is when they reversed it too. So it's probably a good month or so. This design is really cool. I'm like finally starting to see it come together.
Don't forget to put the lighting in under on the ground level.
I was just about to say that. I think there's a bunch that got missed.
Yeah, I was looking at that too. I'm like trying to keep an opening for them. I don't have all those lights.
And I have to say that their response to what the community were doing actually with those picture frames, they were very quick to realize that there was a problem and to correct it. And I think that's one thing that Playful do very well, is they do manage their community very well and get a very pleasant gaming experience for everybody. And hats off to them for doing that.
Yeah, I think they do a good job of communicating with people what's going on and what's happening and why.
Oh, I 100% agree. This is one of the best devs and communities that I've, other than Lord of the Rings when they first came out, they have they're on top of it. I mean, they see something and yeah, it might take them a little bit, but they're on top of it.
So for this update, I had a couple more things myself. Again, I wasn't here for it, but so this is when the plow tool could be used to change other blocks, like take a wood block and turn it into like a log block or whatever, which I think is cool. But oddly enough, not to do with the actual update part of it, but the plow itself. Oh my goodness, I really want it to not be 4 seconds.
I actually, that was on my list as well.
It's on my list.
I definitely agree with that.
I love the fact that you're allowed to hollow out the woods. because those are my favorite woods and they're so hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
But the length and training, taming a pet too, sometimes that
Yeah.
just takes forever.
Oh yes, the taming is probably why I don't do it very often, because it takes forever.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think for the taming for me, I was really excited about the idea that anything could be tamed and started doing that. And then I don't know, I think they need to drop better things, or if not drop better things, then at least not require so much maintenance. Because it was like, I'm dirty, clean me off, feed me. It's just like, and what do you give me back? Like nothing, piddly stuff. I clothe you, I feed you, I clean you, bathe you, and what do I get in return?
At least they're not totally broken anymore and they're actually staying in your pins.
Except for mine was jumping on the roof the other day, but it is a whole lot better.
Yeah. I don't remember which hotfix it was, but I definitely do want to say I love the fact that they fixed the water-ish.
Yeah, I don't remember when that was either, but definite plus. I mean, there's still some things I'd like to adjust with the water. It's just, but Jen, you love the water too, right?
Oh yes, it's my favorite aspect of this game. No, but I really wish they will someday fix it for the blueprints. As I've said in a lot of my videos, that you cannot use water in blueprints. You have to, do it after you're done with the blueprint, because it makes a mess.
Last thing I had for this update was that this is also when they added the ability to merge like claim borders. So if you're in a public world and you can see claim borders, if you own claims next to each other, you didn't have to see that line through your own claim anymore, which was just nice quality of life change. Tam, are you okay down there? Okay,
sorry. I decided to swim underneath to put the lights in underneath and all those spots.
I was gonna say I almost drowned earlier because I got stuck. I fell into a hole under here and got stuck, but I got out. I didn't die, obviously.
So I was coming by and I'm like, oh, I see like a light's needed. So I pull up the ground and then I look down and like Tam's there floating up. I'm like, that's not creepy.
Braver than me. I couldn't do that without dying.
All right, so the next update was the R44, the industrial update. So that was a pretty huge one, all new items. I personally love the new blocks. I like the ability that you could switch up the style of your build, so you could have a modern build or a textile build. I love the smoking chimney, and the Robo Retreat was really cool blueprint. And I think for me, it was also the ability to suddenly now rotate windows and fences. That was like, ah.
And you wonder why that wasn't in there in the first place.
It's definitely one of my favorites. I really, really like it.
I'm a very big fan of steampunk. So when the industrial update came up, I was just, oh, yes. And the fact that we've got, the moving cogs and the bellows and all the sounds that go with it as well, because I remember actually suggesting to them a while back, wouldn't it be nice to have blocks that have sound effects? And they sort of incorporated that in as well. And to me, it was nice because it means you could add movement. They had the smoke effects, all the particle effects with it. So yeah, it was a very exciting update, I thought, because they brought in these new elements that allowed you in your builds to actually bring a little bit more life, so it wasn't just so flat and just blocks anymore.
I agree. I love the fact that, like, with the Christmas update from last year, that they brought in the smoke and the fires and all of that. That was awesome. And I do agree with you. I love the new blocks that allow you to move and the
cog
cogs.
stuff. Yeah.
I just wish with like the fans that you were able to turn off the pushment, the actual fan part, that keep the motivation, the movement of it.
I think they also made the forges a lot faster. But what I'd like to see with the forges is more space in them, or each stack of creatable material within the forge to be increased.
That would definitely help, yes.
I would go with faster and more. I'd go with both.
I mean, it's great we can push shift now and get more in there, but that's just what saves us a few seconds.
Yeah. When you're doing the big builds, you need so many processors out.
Yeah, I think that's a big wish list for a lot of people is let us make advanced processors and forges. Start off with the basic, that's fine, but let us upgrade them so that instead of, what is it? I think it's 21 is the maximum you can do. Instead of that, let us double it, let us quadruple it, because all you see in most people's builds is just row upon row upon row of processors and forges because you just have to grind it out all the time.
Yeah, my builds kind of show that too.
Yeah, and I don't mind it being a little bit more in game. I don't want it to be so when people first join, they're like, "Oh, that was easy." And I get that you want people to experience some time in it, but I think once you have put in that time, then you should be rewarded a little bit with a faster process.
Well, I read somewhere where someone mentioned using the chips as a way to make the processors go faster, and I like that idea.
Ooh, because I'm a little bit of a hoarder, not a huge hoarder, but I still have all those things. I'm just like, I wish there was a point to them.
Yeah, I mean, they used to have a webpage that you can go to that you can do the Morse code and decode it, but that no longer works.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, and that's actually, I hadn't even thought of that till just now. That's one of the first things I liked about Creativerse was that I remember when we were doing the Valhalla server with some of our guild members, and they first would join, they'd be like, "Okay, so do I need to collect this?" And I love being able to tell them, everything you collect is useful for something you want to build, no matter how, whatever the creature drops, the mob drops, you can use it. Maybe not now, but later it's going to have a point.
Oh yeah, it's like when I first started, I was like, "What are the bones for?" And I kept throwing them away, and now you need the bones because of the Halloween updates. You know.
So I would love to a little bit more of that was useful.
Another thing I loved about this update was the shininess of the new ores.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I would love to be able to make a blueprint with the ore in it.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Some of them are so shiny, and it would be just epic to make something. But the fact that you can't blueprint them, I mean...
Well, it makes sense to not be able to blueprint them because people would just keep doing that over and over again. But it'd be nice.
They would have to come up with the block itself.
But it'd be nice if you could make a shinier block, maybe. But that's
it would be nice to have the ores as a texture, not necessarily as an ore.
Yes.
So you could say, instead of it like you don't want people to replicate the ores over and over again, because they will do it. It's human nature, of course they will. But to also then be able to create a block that looks like it, because I know I've seen that they used, because with tar you can make coal and diamond, and they actually made a planetarium.
Yeah, I saw that too.
And
really cool.
they and I think that's brilliant. And I'm like, why didn't I think of that? But I'd love to be able to put like the obsidian in there, or can you imagine the iron ore on a wall? Brilliant. I'd love that. And it doesn't have to be iron ore. It just needs to be that we can have that texture.
Yeah, because they're really cool textures, like the Lumite. I mean, there are a lot of Lumite walls, but there's something about the Lumite ore itself that's still so nice.
I just want to say that, I really like the lamps that they put out for industrial.
Yeah, it's one of the lamps I use a lot for some builds too. There were some really nice pieces that came out with that. And it was funny because I don't normally, I know Chaslan, you were saying you kind of like that steampunk. I don't dislike it. I don't normally build in it, but literally like a week or two before it came out, I was sitting there going like, I wish there was more blocks so you could make a steampunk. And then they came out. I was like, they can read my mind.
I know, right?
The developers are watching you.
Okay, so the next update was the blueprint update, the blueprint revolution update. So I'm sure we all have things to say about that. I'll just leave it open. What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Jen.
What's that? I'm sorry. I was a little distracted about placing blocks. I got caught.
The blueprint update. What's your thoughts?
Oh, about the blueprint update with the users being able to make them. How do I feel about this? I hate it. No, I'm kidding. I love it. It's the best thing ever. I'm telling you, because I love blueprints. If you didn't know that by now, yeah, and it gives us a chance to see, the creation, the creativity of people, because there are so many creative people out there, far more than myself, and I draw from that, and I just love it. Oh,
I'm with you 100%. I love to be able to look at someone's blueprint and be like, oh, so that's how they made it? You turn it that way?
yes, exactly. Oh, you can use this as that. Wow, I would have never thought of that.
Yeah, definitely. Because this is my very first building game, so I've never been to any other ones. So learning all of this is just so wonderful. One thing I wish they would do is for contributors, I believe that's what it's called on the Steam Workshop,
Mhm.
that you didn't have to be friends with somebody to be able to join them as a contributor, so that changing or using somebody else's blueprint wasn't your blueprint as soon as you posted it again. Does that
Mm.
make sense?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's something that's to do with Steam rather than with Playful, and this has been why a lot of other places that a lot of game developers who've had used the Steam Workshop, they wanted to be able to pay people for their work, but they couldn't do it because what people were then doing is they were seeing somebody design, taking it, then publishing it as their own, expecting to get for it. So it's just one of those things that is definitely a Steam thing, though, rather than something that Playful have any control over.
Yeah, definitely. It just would be nice to, be like, other than us putting our own signature on it, saying this is my first build,
When the blueprints first came out, I was excited. I think I was just excited to be excited, and then like when they were discussing it, and then when it actually came out, I was a little sad. And I think, Kat, you might have posted on Twitter too that you were like a little mixed feelings about it. And I remember, for me personally, what I had originally planned to do with our channel was we were going to be more of a Creativerse guides channel, like how to do something, because that's what I had fun doing, not just here's the build, but here's how you can make it yourself. And I was like, well, they just put me out of business. You don't need to know how to do it anymore. You just need to download it and then do it.
Yeah, that was.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, but that was one of my things on my checklist to mention to you guys, was how did you guys feel about how this is going to affect our channel?
Yeah, it was just that I was really going like, okay, we need to revamp what our point is for our channel now. Still want to do Creativerse, but what's our place in it? And now we do more like the kind of the sets and stuff, which is fun. But I think the first thing that made me go, okay, no, this is actually cool, was when I was building. It was like a personal thing, and I could blueprint what I had done in one corner and then redo it in a different corner. And that whole, when you're going back and forth between one thing and another to make sure that they match, and it's like, no, I just set the blueprint down and I'm good. Or the ability to, like what we did here, make the platform of grass, and it's just like, you don't have to hit C and walk backwards for forever. You can just put down the blueprint and click, 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 and you're done. And that was when I first went, okay, blueprints and me are going to be okay.
For sure, yeah. Because there's so many times I'm like, I'm off one block and I have to tear down the whole wall.
Yes. And that's a nightmare.
That is my life, by the way. I'm always off one block.
It's like, I know I counted. I really do.
That's what Tam did, I think.
Yeah, I just did that on the magic school. I had to tear down an entire wall, and I did it on live stream. And yeah, like the video that I'd posted previously, it showed me, it's like, okay, that's the center, and no, it was not the center.
But it was so much better to just be like, you know what, I'm going to copy this. It's a copy paste. It's a beautiful copy paste. It did mean that I was, until they now have those kind of like login packs, I was seriously hunting down some, oh my god, what are the creatures called? little blue guys. Oh my god, why am I blanking on this?
Keep us-
The Keepas, yes. Oh my god, I saw a Keepa. I was like, kill the Keepa! I need your Arkstone.
And for me, like with the blueprints, I've actually started doing on my channel is I've just looked at people's blueprints, and it would be nice if it's actually on the blueprint
Who
that
it
it
is.
would also credit
it
the
is.
person.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
I've downloaded some and I'd like to credit them, and I'm like, I didn't write down their name, and I'm feeling really bad because now I'm doing their blueprint on YouTube, it's on the internet, and I can't say, oh, and so did this. Check out their other stuff. So I've got to go back now and sort of research it to try and see where I've got them from. So that would have been a really nice thing to add.
I think Steam has a way for you to look and see what you are subscribed to.
Yeah, but I think I agree. Like when you actually put the blueprint down, if you click on it, you should be able to see it there, like without having to go anywhere else. Because it had like, I would love to be able to see the description and everything.
Well, yeah, this is it. It should be, I don't know, Shark Blueprint by so and so. That's how it should be named. It needs to be always there so that it's a reminder.
I think it's also good just for people when they promote themselves, and I don't mean just YouTubers or anything. I mean more specifically when you are doing someone else's build on a world, even a public world. You're like, hey, I've started a blueprint such and such, and it's just nice that people can go, oh, I want that one too. Where can I find it? Who did it? Or whatever. You can kind of see those details.
I wish it was easier so that when you did switch back from like a preview or something like that for our own blueprints, like the ones we don't upload, that we didn't lose them if we don't save them in some type of a way.
What do you mean, like if you don't actually make the blueprint?
Well, let's say we like this, we blueprint it, but we don't post it on Steam. And now we go to like the preview, or we have to unload or download the game again. We lose that blueprint if we don't save it.
Oh, I did not realize that. Huh. That's good to know. Note to self, don't uninstall this game unless you have it all copied. The R46 update was the Galactic update, and I'm going to start off saying 300 stacks. Oh my god, yes. Yes, 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 and thank you, yes. It made storage so much nicer.
It made me not feel like a hoarder. I have to go
Yes.
out now.
It just made me want to hoard even more. 300 stack. Oh, we gotta do this now.
Yeah, my room is like so empty. I'm like, I used to know where everything was. Now it's like a few inches over.
Yeah, that readjusting was a little bit interesting at first. I was like, where is this now? But like the chest that I used to keep of like grass and dirt and stuff. Oh god, it was so much nicer to have 300 stacks of that.
Yeah, because otherwise
Definitely.
it'd be multiple chests full of the same exact item, and they'd start to cover one wall, and then at some point you started to just obliterate the world and not care if you collected the bags as they fell, just so that you could do some terraforming.
Oh my god, I think I forgot to mention this. What update was it where we got placemats? I mean,
That was the launch update.
was it? Okay, well then I'm sorry I forgot to mention this. Me and placemats. Me and start again. Words right. Me and placemats have a love affair. I think they're one of the best things ever. And then in this update, the Galactic update, we got the grav chambers, and I was like, yes, this is me.
And apologies to anyone who decides they want to build any of our magic builds, because they're going to be inundated with placemats, and I feel sorry for the pigsies of your world.
Yeah, the pixies have died a lot.
Now, for the placemats, have they changed it now where they're rotatable, or are they only facing one direction?
They are not rotatable. Well, let me change that. You can rotate them so that it's north, south, east, west. You cannot rotate it so that you can place it flat on a wall.
I asked about it, and I think 2 streams ago, and Brainslough answered that, you know, will there be an ability to rotate placemats? And I wasn't quite clear on it, but it kind of sounded like it could cause a lot of kind of game performance issues with putting too many items in something and then having it in all kinds of different directions. That they purposely were right now keeping it kind of simple, but they're not, if they can get the technology to work for it later, it's something they might look into, but that right now they're purposely not having that be an ability.
And on that note, I would love to be able to make this world more of a 3D orb type world, and being able to rotate an entire blueprint so that I could create a building flat, horizontal, and then stick it vertically on a wall, or upside down even. It would be, I would personally love to be able to do that.
Oh yeah, being able to that'd be awesome to see houses and building upside down, a whole castle upside down. Wouldn't that be awesome?
I may just have to create one that is completely upside down.
I agree. Also, what I would love they would do is tell you where the cornerstone is on the blueprint.
Yes.
Yes, that would be fantastic. Seriously.
I had not thought of that, but vote me yes on that.
Because there's like so many times I'm like, oh, I got it perfectly where I want it, and it's like 15, down. And I'm like, so I've been actually trying on my blueprints to put where I'm, like it's in the middle block 17 or something like that.
Kind of wasn't able to make it today, but one of the things she brought up, I thought was an interesting note for the Galactic update. Kind of said that what she wanted was kind of like, the curved slopes that you can put down, that if you put them all down and form a circle out of them, that the textures don't actually match up correctly, that the lines aren't right, and so it's not really seamless. And
I would love to be able to make modular pillars, as not just the one single block, but 4 blocks to create one, so they're 4 times as wide, twice as wide, something like that.
No, I agree. I think some of the skins really do need an update. When you can see the seams in something that's supposed to be seamless, it just kind of takes the total away from it.
Yeah, and that was kind of my point too. It's just like, it's not even just that. It's like when she brought that up, I was like, yeah, there's been a couple blocks where I've just been like, oh, this wood texture doesn't align. I wish that did.
Different limestones, because quite a lot of the limestones, some of them are closer to bedrock than they are to limestone, and that's my pet peeve, is that if it's limestone, at least have it a uniform color.
Yeah.
So then you can say, well, I'm building something out of limestone, and I can use the figured limestone, I can use the carved limestone, and it'll all match. But nope, it won't. Just my peeve.
No, I'm right there with you. Go ahead.
No, I was totally agreeing. And then it's like with the limestone, you have like the striped limestone and you have the smooth limestone. Give us one or the other, or both.
I just, in general, and this is part of my wish list, I'm getting ahead of myself, but just in general, I wish there were, I know they release blocks and sets, but I feel like there are not enough solid blocks that work in sets together well.
Yeah, that was on my wish list as well. Like the windows. I mean, really, we have all of this obsidian, but we have no blue windows other than the Adobe.
Yeah.
We just need more windows, period. I mean, they gave us some new ones, but there needs to be a lot more, like you're saying, to match. Because, I don't know. I'm like you guys, you all seem kind of like you're very detailed oriented and you want things to match and stuff. So I think they will too. I think they're adding more doors and windows and those kinds of things.
I was kind of disappointed they did not have a storage unit.
Yes.
I would have liked not just a storage unit, but teleportation, or teleporters that will teleport your items from one location to another.
Oh, you're talking machine stuff in a way, though.
But it would have been logical to add it to, the Galactic set.
All right. So our update R47 was the Pumpkuru Candy Campaign. We were moving for the most part of this, but when we were able to hop on, I really did enjoy being part of like a large-scale quest with everybody else that was a player. I really liked that kind of teamwork, and I thought in general it was a really neat event.
I agree. I love the fact that it was a community where it was the whole game and not just a worldly event, even though you can do your own world events as well.
Of the first, sorry, the intro of the first Creativerse NPC with the Pumkuru, and I thought it was a really, really good idea because I'm part of the Creative crew, and there were a lot of us that were all getting together and jumping on a world, and we created arenas to do these things. And I don't think I have killed as many creatures as I did during this event, and it was so much fun. And chasing after warm worms as they were popping place, and it was a really, really, really good idea, and I'm glad that they introduced it because it did bring out a very strong community feel, and that's what I think Playful do best, to be honest.
Wacko Worm was interesting, especially when he ported to places where you did not expect him to go.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
so
I
much
know,
fun.
right? It was fun.
Bat juice from the Pumkuru
Mm-hmm.
event was really awesome.
Yeah, like that's what was mentioned was, the extra stuff that they brought in was really cool. The only complaint I had for myself for the this event was I wish you could take off the extra details from like the cameras or the skulls and just maybe have a blank.
Like what you mean when you put in like a placemat?
Well, when you put down the new let me open up I haven't played with any of the new Halloween events.
Mm-hmm.
Like the candles, how they have the
Yes.
skull on the face. I wish you could just make it a candle instead of having that skull and the colors. I mean, they're gorgeous, don't get me wrong, but they're just not my style.
I know, I was trying to add it to the magic set, and then it just was like, no, this mage tower is not supposed to look evil, and adding skulls to your candles really just brought up the evilness.
Yeah. The flares, however, those are super hilariously funny. And old Bob just loved the fireballs. I mean, come on, who's going to make the other fireballs now?
There were other fireballs?
Well, you have the flaming skulls that just came out, and then you had the fire bombs. Excuse me.
Oh, okay.
I'd rather see a flying skull any day.
Those were cool. I mean, I wasted a few just throwing them just to watch them.
I mean, the sheer amount of explosives and extractors, and just for participating in the event, and if you teamed up with other people to do it as a group, the amount of material that you could acquire was, I mean, I still have a couple hundred of the extractors, and I was barely participating. I can't imagine someone who did it every single day, was on all the time to collect their chests.
Oh, I know. That is just it. Yeah, I love the new chest though. I mean, it's like here's your little food pellets come in every 4 hours.
Okay, I will say I loved it at first, and then I had to talk to myself because I started to feel bad. It just was like I wasn't opening them, and so my bags were filling up with them. And I mean, not filling up, but you see it in the screen, and then I'd log and there'd be more, and I'd be just like, no more, I can take no more. But then I was just like, it's such a good thing. Like, I was just like, get over it, you'll be fine. It's
You'll
a really
never
good
have to
benefit.
make an extractor ever again.
I was feeling pressured. I was just like, you must get on and open.
I just counted. I have like 40 of those chests on me right now. I
See?
haven't opened. Speaking of hoarding,
I have a
Yeah,
ton
I
of them.
have 30. I have 38, I think, something like that.
So I like my bags to be clean sometimes, and not that you could tell from like my videos, but yeah, that was killing me. It was a good 2 weeks of me going, not another one, and then I moved on. I think it's when I started using more of the extractors rather. Then I was happy again.
Well, I just think the cost of them in the first place is just way too expensive. So getting them free kind of balances out a little.
Yeah. Anything else about the candy campaign?
The candy campaign, no, but for the costumes, I have a lot of things.
Yeah, that was the next update, the R48. So go for it.
I love the fact that they brought in the costumes. That you're able to change them to the colors that you're wearing. but they should really had practice fitting them a little better.
I have not actually tried a costume. I think other than the one from my flashlight, which I then turned back off. But
I haven't figured out how to activate the costumes yet.
well, for me, it's just I didn't see anything I wanted yet. I thought they were cool. I just didn't personally want them yet.
I love the flashlight. I hope they can do more things with it, like give me a little leprechaun or something,
Leprechaun.
or fairy, or just something
Oh, the
that's
fairy would be cool. I vote yes on fairy.
I
Oh, that
have a
would be
little
nice.
teeny dragon.
Ooh, that too. Which of you guys actually use the costumes?
I believe I have one on now.
Yeah, the ones with the hat on.
Same here.
Would you say, Susie?
I love the costumes, and I wish they would make more costumes for females.
Yeah. Okay, I am not a girly girl, but like I just wanted a little bit. I know they just got started, so I'm gonna give them that. But I can't wait to see what other ones they do.
Now, talking about not being a girly girl, I am definitely in the same boat. But look at we are all female characters. And when you look at us, other than maybe long hair, there's nothing that changes what we look like compared to the male characters, other than these weird looking skirt shorts.
I know. I had
And-
that on my list.
And like they're trying to make it kid friendly, and we do all look like little kids. So they can't actually add like chest, but something that makes the characters look a little bit more feminine might help. And I know that sounds completely opposite from any other game, where they're absolutely hyper feminine.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the guys, the male shorts are so much better. Give me those. I mean, look at the shoes too. Why do we have to have socks all the way to our knees?
Yeah.
I agree.
I wish there were just more styles. I also and this is for me for all games, being a African American, I'm glad that I could change my skin color because there's so many games where I don't get that option. But I just wish there was more hairstyles too, and I don't even care if they're all variations of hairstyles I can't have. There just isn't enough, and I'm like, and I'm not a girly girl, but I wanted more options.
Yeah, I want more hair options as well. And also, I've grew up like in a religious way, so I've been like forced to wear skirts for life, and that's one thing I wish I could change.
You're like, no more skirts.
I would like to just to wear pants.
Yes.
If anybody were to know me, if they actually saw me in real life in a skirt, they would ask me if I was going to a funeral or something. because
Exactly.
I just don't do it. It's like, especially now at this time of year, it's freezing cold. You will not see me in a skirt. You will see me in thick corduroy trousers with stockings. It's like, that's how it's gonna be. You're not gonna stop me. I'm not gonna be cold for anyone.
Oh my God, you're speaking my mind. I'm like, when it's cold, I prefer to be warm than anything else.
Oh goodness! Yesterday we did wood, and I had a pair of tights, my my pants. I mean, I was like totally bundled up. No such thing as a looseness on me.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we're all in agreement. Some more options, and maybe this definitely with the skirt and the hair. For the
How about
female.
the color palette, for both characters and being able to dye blocks?
I agree with that. With the dyeing of the blocks, that's one of the things I had on my list for
Yeah.
the Halloween updates. For the multi-block, that has like the multi-different sections, I wish there was oh goodness gracious, wallpaper like design so that you can block something so that you don't have to go too deep in order not to have a backdrop that you don't want.
Or a way to select the side of the wall that you want to have on the entire block.
Yeah.
I want them separated because I loved like for the Halloween wall, for instance, I love all the sides. They're all neat. They're very cool. But when I got to the corner, I was just like, what do I do now? Because I want the corners to be this. Like I want this side to be the same, the bottom side to be the same as the left side, and it meant that I was gonna have spooky eyes, a whole row of it, a whole column rather, or I was gonna have a broken brick one, which looks cool, but not so cool when it's the entire column. And it was just like, ugh. It just makes building hard, and I had to swap out that and use something else totally.
This has been the whole raison d'être behind campaigning for the 32-bit blocks, because the 32-bit blocks would allow for us to customize them and paint them. And that's why I've kind of been on Twitter as well, and it's always hashtag 32-bit blocks. Get it out there, because the sooner they can bring it in, the more customizable everything can be. And I want that. I mean, we've got so many nice textures, but I look at it, I go, it's a great texture if only it was in green.
Yes.
Or if only I could do that in purple. I love it, but it's the wrong color. And that's my big real frustration with the game, is to be able to choose the design I want and then the color I want with it. We can do it with the LEDs, so we know that they can do it. They just need to add it onto the blocks as well.
The LEDs, I do agree, work with that, but they're not the true colors. Because when I was doing my TARDIS, the Creative TARDIS roof, I picked out certain color codes, and I actually went through the whole, RGB, and it wasn't matching.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of people talk about that before. Yeah, they're not quite the true red, green, blue. I think it's the blue is more of a cyan and not a blue.
Oh, and I would also like to see beam stoppers.
What's that?
What's that? Oh, yeah, beam stoppers. Something that will prevent a beam from going through a wall and halfway across the map.
Yeah, it would be great with all of those beacons if you could just limit how far they went, because they literally do right from one end of the world to the other from wherever you set them.
I hate that. That's why I don't use them that much. I'm just like, I just want a little light to come out for little ways. That's it.
I mean, just being able to put a solid block down and have it cause the beam to not continue would make so much sense.
Or if you could adjust how long you wanted it to go with a slider.
You see, my brain, when I hear block to diverted, I'm thinking, wouldn't it be nice if you could have a corner slab that would go around a corner with it, and you could make a cordon with it, and so many possibilities with just one little idea.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. I was thinking of using making a maze where you have to place, like you're for an adventure where you're given a certain number of corner blocks and you have to place them in such a way to get the laser to go from the beam to go from one end to another through the maze in order to open the final door on the end.
That'd be awesome.
That would rock. Totally would.
You should do that all by yourself too.
Adventure. Yeah, like that.
Love to play it, would not love to build it.
Now, there was one update. I'm not sure if I just missed it, but the medieval update.
Did I skip that one? I think I might have skipped. It was... Oh, yeah, it was after the mob makeover. Between that and the... So R41 was the Colossal Castle update. Let's talk about that one.
I absolutely love the Renaissance. Me and my husband actually got married in the Excalibur with Renaissance clothing and everything. So this is my favorite update. It's just really none of the blocks align when you put them together.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just crazy. And then when they changed the back of the stairs, they just gave it a plain back. Why didn't they give us, the rug back like they usually do?
Yeah, that was pretty much ditto. It's like my favorite kind of genre. And then also I found like the blocks didn't go well with a lot of the other stone blocks, so it's just made for mixing not quite as nice. And then yeah, the texture's not lining up. Like when you try to do the banners and yeah. In general, I just want things to line up. All the texture packs to line up. What else happened? Oh, so the Colossal Castle update is also when we got the beds so that they restore your full health, which is cool. I will say, I find the survival aspect, granted I have not played on it on a while. I've been in kind of creative mode version. I never thought I would say this because I hate having to eat in other games, but I don't know, I feel like there's no true sense of death and worry. And there needs to be a little bit more of that in survival mode.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that actually the other day, that there's really no sense of death, because you can, I mean, I don't know how I would change it. Like I don't know what I would do to make it more challenging. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know food is one of the things, but I don't want food if the plow's not going to change as well, because I would die.
That's true. If they added, yeah, they would definitely need that to work if they were going to add food, if you needed food and water. That would make it more of a challenge. That would, I actually might like that. It would make me want to play in a more survival mode, because I'm in creative mode pretty much all the time.
But that brings in the thing that we actually need a true creative mode. Is we need to just be able to lay
hover,
down blocks, build what we like, and do whatever we need to do. And I'd like to add to that, to if they're worried that people will just make blueprints that are impossible to make because of creativity and whatever, is making an offline mode so I can go offline, build to my heart's content, and then come back and just say, well, this is what can be done. You guys go and try it now. Just so that maybe it doesn't inundate the blueprint world or whatever else with other people who are actually working hard to get those materials.
Are you talking about making an entire blueprint of like Lumite, for example?
Well, yes, and I mean, it's nothing stopping you from doing that, but I mean that does also come to my second sort of little niggle that I've got, is how they are charging people to, if you want to actually get the kit for the blueprint, is they're charging for something that they haven't done. You're just having to pay to get those blocks, and I think it's a bit costly. And as I say, I do know players are school going age children, and this is very, very unfair to them. It's sort of it's frustrating for them because they can't do what other creators can do, and they're constantly having to go, oh, we need so many coins. I mean, for me to sort of like sometimes do a blueprint, it would cost me, I'm in the UK, it would cost me like £20. To me, that's a lot of money. That's a lot to put in so I can put some virtual blocks down. It's if was a lot lower, where it'd be sort of where in line with a lot of Facebook games where you're putting in maybe like £2, then it would be less of a burden, I would say, on those who don't actually have that much money.
Or maybe a way to earn the coin in game.
Oh yeah, I
So-
don't mind grinding a little bit to get some extra stuff by any means. Yeah, I mean, for people who have the money, I don't see it being a big problem. But for most of us, I'm sorry, I don't have the money to do that. And lately, I don't have the time to grind out 5 to 10 hours to build one build.
Yeah, I don't think there's any quibble about that they about the fact that they're charging for it, but I think that their price point is just a little bit high, and I mean it's fine because you like you say, you don't actually have to pay for the blocks, but then there is a big time factor, and I mean we know, I won't mention any names, but there's other companies that have got into a fair bit of trouble recently for trying to get as much money as they possibly can out of their game.
I feel really, I mean, for myself, I am very happy with the 64-bit, but it makes my game run a lot better. I don't crash like I did before, but I feel really bad for those that, aren't able to upgrade their PC and have to run with a 32-bit and, can't really play the game, or I guess, whatever. I mean, I don't I know they had some warning ahead of time, but I don't know. I just feel really bad for those people. I don't know what they could have done. I mean, other than, people update your computer, but some people don't have the means to do that. And they have older computers or potatoes.
Potatoes. No, I agree. I mean, the lag and the crashes was just getting unplayable. So I do believe upgrading was for them a good thing, but I do agree that for the lower end players, they're gonna have to look for something else now, which really bites.
Yeah, and I mean, from what I understand, there's not a whole lot of them, but still, I mean, I don't know.
And I think it's a decision that they absolutely had to make, though, because people were actually stopping from playing the game because it was unplayable. I know from my perspective that I actually had to sort of take a step back because I was actually getting motion sickness, and I had the Steam overlay on, and I was at 4 frames per second, and you can't play a game at that at all. It was like playing in stop motion. So I think they made the right choice. But as you say, for those who do have lower end PCs, they could probably still run it. They could probably get, I don't know, some sort of overclock on their computers. But I think that Playful did take a look and see how many players actually are on that lower end and realize that they've really got to keep the newer end, sort of the higher end, sort of playing rather than catering to a very small sort of lower end demographic. Unfortunately, it's progress, I suppose.
Oh, definitely. I agree. I actually lost some videos because I was crashing. And at the time, whenever I would crash, my OBC would corrupt the files. And
you.
I would totally lose my, video, which was sucking. And I'd have to like re-record everything. But yeah, I mean, I know it was something they had to do as necessary. I know you can't keep everybody happy, but I definitely like it. But I've just had a lot of people, not a lot, but I've had few people complain to me personally that they were, not going to be able to play the game anymore because they were 32-bit still.
I didn't realize there were still that many people that were 32-bit and that it was making that big of a difference to a lot of players.
I hadn't either because my PC actually is like 6 years old, and I mean I have upgraded some parts, but I if I have a 6-year-old computer and it's 64, what do you guys have, like a 15-year-old computer? Like most computers these days do have are the 64, but there is quite a few, and I mean way less obviously, but there's still some out there that have that. But anyways, we can move on from this topic. Sorry, guys.
Now, as for the columns, who else feels like they need to replace all of the building?
Me, my underground little city. I have to go back and redo a lot of it to add those columns and to make everything look a lot better. But it'll be okay. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I really enjoyed seeing those come out.
I said they also added the sprite icon.
Oh my god, that was that update. You're right. We should definitely talk about that. Love it. My storage loves it. I heart.
Well, it was so crazy because like a few months ago, I had asked them for a file of all of their pictures because I'm planning on doing a series, and then they come out with this, and I'm just like, oh, this is perfect. Because I was going to Photoshop all my pictures.
I like being organized and the ability to see what's in a chest. Or better yet, for Tam to see what's in a chest and not put things back in the wrong chest. That is wonderful. Alright, so that wraps up 2017. What do you guys want to see in 2018? What's your wish list?
The ability to put things back the way you found them.
Undo button?
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yes, please. An undo button would make my life so much better.
I am glad I'm not the only one that's done something and be like, oh no, undo that. And you're like, oh wait, no, you can't.
Well, because it's like when you're like, you pillar up and you got all the blocks and you just want that one that's up in the air and you accidentally take it.
I think that's probably why I do like the blueprints, because it gave me, like, for me, often I'd be using it in a sense of, I want to try this out. I think it's okay, but what about this other idea? And I'll try the new idea. And they're like, nah, I think I want to go back to the original. And it's just like, no, I gotta go recreate it. So the blueprints have helped me with that.
Yeah, well, also, I would like to be able to put like the moss back onto a tree. Like if I build my own tree,
God, yes.
or the vines on the trees.
Or the vines, yeah, the vines back onto a tree and not have them just look like green string.
I'd love for all of every block that has a item on it. I wish you could have that as an actual block. I would rather you get the tree with the moss on it, and then you can, uncraft it some kind of way through the processor or something to separate them, or be able to craft them back together. You put the moss in, you put the tree bark, and then you have it. And I would love for everything to be something you could get, like the like Christmas trees that have the snow on them, and you can't actually get that block. You can't get that with that snow look on it. Ugh.
Oh, I know. The first time I ever seen that, and I was like, "Oh yes, this is gonna be perfect." And then I took it, and I was like, "What?" Or the snow caps are gorgeous too.
Yes.
Yeah, even if they made it how they did with the other stuff, just do the plow, so that you can plow it and make it snowy. Or have snow and you can smoosh it together somehow. It would be nice for every block that you've got there, if you pull it up, that you can use it again. It's not rocket science. What we want. If we see a block, we want to use it. You can't give it to us as a teaser and say, "Oh no, sorry, you can only use it when it's there." It's like, no.
Well, yeah, because they already have the skins for it, so I mean, it's not going to be that hard to replace.
That's what I don't understand. I'm like, you have it, just give it to me. So that kind of goes along with what my wish list is all kind of related. I had a bunch of different things, and I realized it summed up to more blocks. So 3 kinds of more blocks. That one is single serve blocks. That's kind of what we were talking about earlier when it comes to the Halloween blocks, where you have all those 4 different sides. I'm like, give me all 4 of those separately. Then also more blocks. I think Tashlin, you brought this up. More blocks that are the same thing but different colors. I feel like there's a lot of things they'll have a red, a blue, and a yellow version of. And then there's other things where they have a purple version and a green. I'm like, I was trying to make that wizard tower with purple, and I'm just like, there's not enough purple things that I can use to be like, this is my purple house. I just want more colors. I want the same block. You don't need to change it other than change the colors. For God's sake, change the colors. And then the last one for this would be same vein of the different woods that we already have. I want a different process look for them. It's like you have this ashen wood and willow, and you have these really cool, the textures for them look cool on their own, and then you put it in the process and you're just like, patty stamp, they're all the same. And I'm like, I want multiple wood textures.
Yeah, give us a reason to have all of these different woods.
Yeah, and I think that just goes back to the whole game in general. A reason to explore. Why do I need to go to the jungle biome to get this if it's just going to give me the same process look?
Well, on top of that, if you look at all of the woods in particular, none of them match, really. We have the banded wood, and then you have the other dark wood, but those don't match anything else. Like if you try to put them with these stairs.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to my more blocks. Just, you need more sets, and I think like they release everything in sets, and yet there's still not enough when you're trying to build to be like, oh, these can all kind of go together.
I think that's a common complaint, though, is that people are saying that we're getting lots of blocks, we appreciate the blocks, we think they're great, we're doing great stuff with them, but none of them match. I think one of my big bugbear is just with the plowed field. Why is that directional? And I'm not talking, sort of it's lengthwise. It's like if you go up one row and come down the other, it won't match, and that bugs me. Why can't it you can make a tile, and you can make something that's tiled, but it can be uniform. So if I walk up and plow and walk down and plow, it'll be the same.
Yeah, I know what
It's
you mean.
not
So
that
even when they're in the same
complicated.
direction, it's like there's a heavier side, like a thicker side, and so they don't match up. Ah, I hadn't forgot all about that, but yeah, that bugs me too. Why try not to plow? I'll finish up my last ones, and then you guys are welcome to add your list. So I also wanted more decoration items. I don't do kind of the role playing game stuff some people do in different games, but I like to decorate for them. You know, I don't participate in them, but I do like to decorate. And I just want to be able to have this is my so and so house and this is my so and so house, and be able to put things that we have like already as items into a placemat. So all the potions, oh, please give me the potions that I can put them in a placemat. Every block, I want it to be able to be placed in a placemat. Just every block.
Well, I know, I agree with you on the potions. Like, you know, like the leafy potion and all of those. Wouldn't those be awesome to be able to put on a shelf?
Mm-hmm. They're so adorable. I'm like, why don't you let me use them? All right, so what's everyone else's wish list?
More even lights.
Explain.
Well, I know we have different light sources for different, like, we have these here that we're using. I wish there was a way that you can say, I want this type of light source. Like, if you look at all the lights, some of them are a stale type of light, like if you're in a hospital, and some are like a glowing light. But if you want a main light source, if you want, like, to use these, you have to put them everywhere to get the same light source you would with another type of a light.
Yeah. I think lighting in general is very interesting.
I will say it's a lot better than it used to be. It's still got
Much.
a lot of work, but it's a lot. One thing that I would like them to see, and this probably will never happen or not for a long while, is like climate changes, like actual rain, actual snow, hail, whatever. I think, you know, like seasonal stuff. I think that would look cool.
That would be cool. I remember watching one of their videos when they very first came out. They had falling leaves, and I was like, oh, that is so cool. Why'd they take that out?
To go back and look at that.
Yeah, it was very, very subtle, but you can just barely see the falling leaves, and I was just like, oh, that is so beautiful.
Myself focusing on this build right now too. How are we missing so many pieces?
It's driving me
yeah.
crazy.
Like, we should have been like auto-filling this thing from the beginning.
Yeah, it's bigger
So
than I
many
thought.
missing.
It is so funny, though, that I'm using the autofill because I was such against it at first.
Yeah, I was too, actually. I mean, I'm still learning when I could use it and when I shouldn't use it because I don't know. I'm still, sometimes it messes me up, sometimes it helps.
Well, yeah, and like sometimes it pushes you up with it, and then sometimes you're stuck on the ground. And you're like, oh, great, now I have to use scaffolding.
Yeah.
Yep.
I hate when it skips. Like, it has that weird pattern it does when it wants to fill. It has that kind of triangle shape it fills in, but then it will skip some blocks sometimes, and you're just like, how did you skip this one but do these?
Yeah, that's my big bugbear with the burst fill, is how haphazard it is. It's like if it's going to fill in a block pattern, or if it's going to pattern, or just give it some kind of pattern, not this, oh, it'll do these and then 3 up above your head. Why those 3? Why not the 10 at my feet? Why those random 3 so now I can't move? It's so frustrating.
That one gets to me too. I was replicating Ray's towers, and she has various floors, and I'm trying to get one layer done completely so that I can move on to something else and not necessarily build the floor above me at all. And I'm like, why do I keep running out of these blocks? Where are they going? Then I look up and the entire floor is completely filled in. I was like, I don't even want that filled in.
It's a very interesting pattern for sure.
Yeah, I was so happy just like when we started this, when I could see the autofill was been able to take off.
We're actually at the end, so it's pretty much if anyone else has a wish list item they want to mention. And so let me just go through everyone. Kat, any other wish list items for 2018?
I believe I've said them, but I'm not sure.
All right, Jen, any other items?
I don't think so. I think, yeah, all the same things you guys have said, mentioned is things that I'm hoping for as well. So yeah, I don't think I have any more.
Tashlin, you have any other?
I think that my big thing is definitely, I want those 32-bit blocks because I do want us to be able to like color the textures and that sort of thing. I think that will open things out so much for us. And again, I think we do need some kind of creative mode. We need to be able to go into a world, make it flat, and just build. And yeah, I think those are my two main Christmas wish lists.
I like that you mentioned the flat world. It's something I took for granted in other games, and now I'm just like, yeah, I would like that option every now and then.
Yeah, I would like for them to add a new creature that's like totally different than the ones they have now.
Ooh, that would be cool.
Because that would be super cool to actually a cute pet around.
Yeah, I agree. I wish they would do something more with the oceans. Like give us a nice creature and then give us one that's going to be more aggressive.
Oh, okay, this is my last thing. I want there to be reasons to explore. There should be things out in the world. I feel like when I go into a cave, there's nothing for me to be like, ooh, what will I find? There's no sense of this could be different than the cave I went through, 2 claims away. I would love for there to be just random things thrown out there. I don't have to have actual NPCs, but at least little towns or villages or things you find out in the world to make
Easter eggs.
Yeah, just to break it up and make you go, you know what, I think I'm just gonna go out today and see what's over there, and oh, I found something, so and that goes the same with the water. There's no point in going in the water right now.
I would like Lumite to drop from mobs.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice? Yeah, that's actually one of the things. Reduce crafting costs. They have upped them, and it is unbelievable. You can't craft sometimes.
Yeah, some of the more expensive stuff, I'm just like, yeah, I don't need that. I'll go do something else.
Another thing I would love to see, sorry, like I said, I was a deer in headlights most of the time. An easier way to clean up your world map view. Like if you ban somebody, why are they still on your list? I mean, I understand having like maybe different tabs for like people who haven't been on for a while, people who banned, but I don't want to see everybody on my teleporter list.
All right, guys, that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed our discussion. I know I did. I want to say thank you to Jen, to Susie, to Kat, and Tashlin for joining us today. It was a whole lot of fun. I'm so excited about what is going to happen in the new year. I can't wait to see. Take care.
Happy game now.
Bye, all.
Later.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Tam here from Two Gaming Girls, and I'm back just to show you the final build, and oh my god, look at that floor pattern. It looks like a flower petals. And check this out. Walk down the middle of the upper floor, and that is crazy. This build is insane. I can't even begin to imagine how the designer pulled this off. Showing you outside real quick. Holy cow, I can understand why she called it a flower, really. Well, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we will catch you next time.